We have a huge update on a major debut for AEW All In. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit more about Triple H getting exposed. And yes, we are going to talk about the AEW Backstage morale. It's all happening right here on the Ango Show. Yes. Welcome back to the Ango Show. Hopefully you guys all had a great weekend. I want to kick things off talking about the morale of AEW because AEW talent have been said to be blown away by AEW All In Texas. And this is a really cool report coming from PWInsider.com. They have reported that they have heard from several AEW stars who were really impressed and blown away by the level of attention they received this week at the AEW All In Texas press conference. The report noted that they were told there were a lot of press outlets at the show, including local TV stations. A source even told PW Insider that they felt this was easily the best press conference the company has held thus far. And this is really exciting news because not that many press conferences actually happen in regards to AEW, but most importantly for AEW, this is exactly what I was talking about. When you make major moves and you do big things such as this one, the reaction is usually going to be met with a lot of positivity. That positivity then spreads to the actual roster. And if you have a happy roster, it's going to show and come across on TV and social media. Now, granted, it's not going to be perfect, right? In WWE and in AEW, not everybody's going to love their job. There are going to be people who want to leave the company. But at the same time, too, when a lot of negativity is being said about your company and about your roster, it is very nice to see more reports come out that are actually positive. And that's what AEW has always needed. We understand that the WWE PR machine is at an all-time high. They are doing some incredible things. But AEW, on the other hand, it hasn't necessarily been that way. And it's not a bad thing. It's just not a good thing, right? It's just a thing. Like, you need to improve on it. It's a weakness. You got to get better with PR. You got to create a little bit more attention from the media, and you don't want to do it in a way that is negative. And with AEW, this is a positive step towards positivity overall for the company. And that's what you need. You need to kind of change the perception of your company. So to hear that talent are excited and they're really geeked about this and they're blown away by it, they should be. That is what an expansion looks like. The more and more that you can expand, the more that you're going to see a positive morale. With that being said, this needs to continue. It cannot be a one-off. This needs to be a thing that AEW is constantly improving at to ensure that the people that are working there are actually excited to work there. And that brings us to our next topic, Triple H. I thought this was a really funny report, to be honest with you, because it kind of has become a running gag on the internet. PWInsider.com has reported that Triple H is paying very close attention to fan feedback and reaction to the product. However, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. It's been reported that Triple H has been seen scrolling through social media for feedback while shows are in progress. The report goes on to note, Paul Levesque is a little bit more receptive and understanding of what the audience wants, and I do believe, from what I understand, that he pays very close attention to what the audience wants, not just live, but also based on social media feedback. I have been told that there have been many times where Triple H is scrolling through Twitter from the gorilla position at the broadcast and paying very close attention to what the audience is doing and reacting to as the shows are going on the air. Now, this is a very funny report because I have always said, you don't book your shows for social media. Now, granted, you got to be careful how you do because there are a lot of bot accounts. And if you guys are on Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are a ton of accounts that are grifter accounts. Their sole existence is to just spread one specific message, and they do it for the sake of clout and money and revenue. This is actually one of the reasons why I stopped utilizing X Premium. I don't have the blue check mark anymore. I got rid of it because I feel like anytime I put out my thoughts, people just initially think I'm doing it to put out, content for money. And at the end of the day, Twitter does not pay great money at all. So for me, just being completely transparent with you guys, anytime I would tweet out my thoughts, if it was pro AEW or pro WWE, I was always met with some sort of backlash. And that's why I always say you got to be careful who you are booking for and who's giving you that feedback, because there are a lot of accounts that aren't genuinely real accounts. They're not actually tweeting out genuine thoughts on the product. And I would like to think that Triple H is smart enough to know how to differentiate which accounts are being genuine and which ones aren't. But of course, that's always been a red flag, right? I have said this time and time again about AEW and WWE. Book your show based on, you know, what is bringing people to the show, because at the end of the day, if people are paying money to get to your event, they obviously have a specific interest in your product. But also, yes, take a look at social media, take a look at ratings, take a look at attendance, take a look at everything. You got to have a mix of absolutely everything. But it is funny because there have been things that have happened on WWE television where Triple H, you know, it kind of became the joke, right? It kind of became the thing like, oh, Triple H definitely saw this one on Twitter. And of course, you know, that's why they put it on TV. At the end of the day, you got to be very careful how you judge off social media and stuff like that. I thought it was funny. Triple H scrolling through Twitter. I hope it's not that serious, but of course it is something worth talking about. Guys, we spoke about the Hurt Business coming to AEW, but we got to talk about this because obviously they can't use the name The Hurt Business. A new trademark has been processed. It's now a thing where this is like a legitimate thing. A very interesting trademark has been filed, and it is called the Hurt Syndicate. It was filed with the USPTO by a company called Totally Harmless Concept LLC. This is the same company that has trademarked MVP and Ghetto Strong Style, which was the name that MVP used while going to Japan. Now, keep in mind, MVP and Bobby Lashley have been moved to the alumni section, and you know, with the AEW, they don't have to do all the trademarks for you. As a talent, you can have your own trademarks go into the company. It sounds like the Hurt Business will now be known as the Hurt Syndicate. There is this huge belief that it is happening at AEW. There is this huge belief that it will be happening at All In Wembley Stadium, and that is the right way to do it. I spoke about this before in the previous video, but there is one thing that I want to add on. You know, look, Ricochet, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP. I mean, like, you have a recipe for success here. There's a lot of great things you can do. Everybody keeps asking me, which match do you do it in? MJF versus Will Ospreay. Ospreay loses. Ospreay gets a standing ovation. Ricochet comes out, his music hits, he goes face to face with Will Ospreay, and then the heel turn happens. And then also, to continue fantasy booking that, somebody's going to have to come to the aid of Will Ospreay. I think it should be Kyle Fletcher. And then when Kyle Fletcher comes and makes a save, this is when you have Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin come out. Clearly, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher will be outnumbered. And then I think this could be a huge angle that goes into the following Dynamite. But the Hurt Syndicate is a cool name. I like it. I like the fact that it's somewhat reminiscent of the Hurt Business. I'm excited about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.